Okay, let's move on to the next question, which is two questions, which I'm going to put into one. The first one from the mighty Ethan. Hey DF, exclamation point, given the anemic CPU upgrade in the PS5 Pro, did Sony miss a trick by not including some kind of hardware frame generation? Unlike FSR2, to all appearances, AMD's FSR3 frame gen is actually pretty good. And the ability to boost 30 FPS CPU-limited games to 60 would have been an actual quote-unquote game changer. Is there some technical or release timing reason why that wouldn't have been practical? And this question, segueing smoothly to this question from Smooth Segue, the question is Sony's apparent decision to invest in an in-house upscaling solution with PSSR in lieu of just relying on FSR suggests Sony doubts AMD's upscaling tech is going to markedly improve going forward. So again, we've got two sort of questions here, which is like, why not have frame generation in PS5 Pro? I think we will, actually. And then this question of the fact that Sony appears to have done a custom integration into their next SoC to produce machine learning-based upscaling. What does that say about AMD's own plans? Alex?
Yeah, the first part, like Rich, and I just said it earlier in this episode, like I do think Sony's going to roll probably their own frame generation over time. They've just started investment and they're going to show off PSSR at some point. And if NVIDIA did that, and they're already taking the NVIDIA path, at least in terms of software development here, I don't see why they wouldn't just keep pushing this further. Maybe with a different lag and time scale than what we saw with DLSS 3, who even knows? But I think that's something that's going to happen. And I think it makes a lot of sense to use the GPU for that purpose. I don't know exactly because like obviously NVIDIA uses the like motion encoding aspect of the GPU.
Yeah.
The encoder, the hardware encoder there to do some of this. And I don't know what PS5 Pro has in those areas. So maybe it's like a hybrid solution where it's using compute to do that aspect like FSR3 does. But then the what part of the image should be combined aspect is done with the machine learning hardware within the box. So I think that's going to come. I would like that to come. But
and so will you.
Yeah, at that moment, I'm tops. I'm tops. But the other aspect, I actually do think it shows, at least at that time when they would have started planning this all, it was at that point in time, they didn't have probably confidence that AMD could do this, because at that point in time, when DLSS 2 comes out, it's like right when the consoles are launching. And AMD has nothing. And the first thing they come out with is FSR 1, which is not at all the same order of magnitude, 6 orders of magnitude difference. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I would have at that point in time thought like, yeah, AMD's going to really, we can rely on them for this. And so I probably imagine they saw DLSS and they knew what was going to be happening on AMD, at least for the next 2 years. And they said, okay, so let's start working on our own thing to do this. And I would imagine that the machine learning research that they had took a good while to get to a state where they want to show it to the world. Like, this is not something that you just make on a weekend, on a whim. It requires a lot of research. And like John said earlier, like the first DLSS version that came out wasn't the finished article and something that they would end up having later on. So yeah, probably similar things on the Sony side there. And yeah, I would imagine they didn't have super high confidence that AMD could do something in the timescales they wanted before they should start their own work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've got RDNA 3 now, no machine learning silicon. So 2023, was it 22 as well? I guess it was. In terms of release, we still don't have a clear idea of what machine learning features may or may not be in RDNA 4. So, it may have well just been a timing thing for Sony, just because, they want to get this console out. They wanted to get hardware in the hands of developers kind of now. And where's the AMD solution? That's the question there. In terms of the frame generation thing, ability to boost 30 FPS to 60 FPS, the best frame generation solutions available now don't do that. So, they would have had to really produce something very, very special to do that would cover all gaming eventualities, right? I mean, slower paced games, you can get away with it. But you need a good base frame rate for frame generation. And, AMD itself is saying, well, you need minimum of 60, circa 60. And I think NVIDIA is saying 40, right, Alex?
Yeah, they're comfortable with 40. And I think that bears out in the results.
Absolutely. But that does kind of put you into it won't give you 120 at that point. It's kind of good for VRR, but not good for straight 120, I think. But I think the mighty Ethan says it quite succinctly. Technical and timing reasons. That's it, really. Certainly very interested to see when we are going to get machine learning based silicon within our Radeon GPUs, right? That's going to be a bit of a game changer potentially. It's interesting that there is this talk of FSR getting machine learning. I haven't seen that quote. I've just seen the Mark Papermaster talking about gaming devices, which is typically separate and distinct from their definition for what Radeon desktop GPUs do.